several faces that my grandmother used to make when she was in one of those dementia episodes where she couldn't remember where she was.
Oh, Biden? I think Biden's face is just structured like that. I think he's had too much of that surgery where they pull your head back. You know, when they pull your skin back. Like. Yeah. I just feel like he just has that face because his skin's been pulled back so much.
No, my grandmother had Alzheimer's, and she literally would sit there while we were all talking, and she would just kind of like stare off, but she would kind of look confused, but at the same time, she would kind of look like, well, I think I'm in a warm place, but I'm not quite sure, but I'm just going to sit here and smile.
Maybe she didn't give a damn what y'all was talking about. You know, old people get to that point where they didn't heard it all. They're like, man, I don't care about this. I talked about this 30 years ago. I ain't trying to listen to this shit.
We were on a Zoom call with my grandmother for her 80th birthday, or her 81st birthday. And we're all talking, and it's like my cousins, her family's called in for this. And she gets to a point where she goes, I'm done. I'm going to go take a nap. And she literally just leans back in her recliner and starts to take a nap as my aunt's sitting next to her with like her computer.
And then you realize her grandmother did not have any pants on either because it was a Zoom call.
Hey, just for the record, I did put on pants today. So.
I have no pants on, and my daughters looked at me funny when they were like, hey, are you about to record? And I was like, yeah. And she just kind of looked, and I was like, you need to mind your business and go out here. So
yeah, keep it moving.
I wish that y'all would have come on Friday because we would have all been here talking about tan lines and no pants.
So you're saying I can wear no pants at your house is what you're telling me?
I don't care.
Okay, all right. Well, my wife won't let me though because she's really conservative about those things.
Jess, you can join us. I rarely wear pants in this house.
I'm wearing gym shorts right now. But no, the issue with Jason is drinking, and when you tell him he doesn't need to wear any pants, is he takes that as no pants and no drawers.
Have you not seen how Travis reacts to football games that don't go his way?
That is true. I have seen Travis strip in Twin Peaks.
He sits down in an angry like, toddler fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kennedy used to be the same way. Like, you know, she'd get pissed off when you told her no, and like she'd try and take her diaper off.
It's like Travis turns into a Super Saiyan, but instead of glowing gold, his clothes just falls off. So it's a weird thing. Weirdly weird. Never seen it before.
Yeah.
White people have amazing powers. Have you ever watched Lovecraft Country? White people have amazing powers, so it's really weird.
Not no more. Spoiler.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, spoiler alert. No, but when he's naked by the end of the game, you know that it was bad and you just have to leave him alone.
Yeah, it gets really awkward when he's naked in my basement at the end of like
the Bengals game.
Like come down, the Bengals had a 1:00 game. I come down at 3:30 to see how things are going, and he's butt ass naked on the chair. I'm like, you Lysol that when you leave.
Jess, you could have told me. I could have come up and picked him up and take him home.
Right. Bottom three candies for you.
Laffy Taffy.
Okay.
Smarties.
Wow. Tunes has sweet tartars on his bottom three too. Well, I know they're different, but you know.
Yeah, that whole concept. I'm trying to think something. Yeah, probably sweet tarts. I don't like sweet tarts.
So
nobody likes sweet tarts here.
Candy corn.
Good on that.
I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's like when you get penny.
It's like an alternative sugar.
Oh, okay. Well, I know if anybody was tuning in to get a real deep dive on the presidential debate, Mama Steve, we're going to set the clock. We're going to give you 3 minutes to give you a huge deep dive on the presidential debate. And then we're going to move on to Cardi B wanting that old thing back because that's what I really want to talk about. So your 3 minutes officially starts now.
Okay, as I stated before, aesthetic purposes, Trump looked way too orange and Biden just looked really confused, like dementia confused. Like he's sitting there and he's just staring off into space like, hey. But then when they would like do the question for him, he'd be like, I'm back. And this is what I have to say. And him walking into the debate with a face mask on really just, was a very bold political move on his end. He's like, I'm wearing a mask and Trump is not. So I thought that was a little interesting. And then they start talking about how the coronavirus, they have a plan. And, Trump's like, he has a plan and Biden calls him out because he doesn't have a plan. And which, by the way, if you've seen the link that Biden's campaign actually put out about Trump's COVID plan, you click the link and it says, page not found because Trump does not have a plan. That was pretty funny. So then he starts talking about how he does take responsibility for the coronavirus, but then he backtracks and says that it's China's fault, which I thought was, it's like, okay, well, are you going to take responsibility or not? So pick one, just pick one. And then, you know, they start talking about national security, and then Trump brings in, you know, Kim Jong-un, and then Biden's like, well, you're just his like little buddy. And, you know, they start, you know, squabbling back and forth on that. And yeah, just it was a lot more calm than that, and they don't like each other.
All right, well, you have about a minute and 30 seconds left. Are you going to concede your time?
I'm going to concede my time because, to be honest, for me, it was mostly the aesthetic purposes. I was really worried about Biden there for a second because he did look a little confused and he was just kind of staring off into space. And then there were parts where he looked like he was falling asleep. So Biden's campaign, if you need to perk him up, I would highly suggest Earl Grey tea.
Gotta get him them real good drugs. My wife had some brief comments on there.
I think overall, I don't think their debates changed anyone's opinions or swayed any voters. What I really missed, though, was Mike Pence's only black friend, The Fly. I was really hoping that he would make an appearance in, like, the presidential. He did so well in the vice presidential debate. That was my favorite part of the vice presidential debate, that he should come and share his beliefs in the presidential debate also.
Okay, well,
I agree.
Everybody that was thirsting for the debate part 2, you got it now.
You got it.
Let's go on and move to, you know, a topic I'm excited about is my girl. Well, not my girl, but I was petitioning to be her next man. But I guess that the petition I had, like, it was a filing processing issue, so it never quite made it to her.
Oh, Jess looks mad.
As your wife, I'd like you to tell me more about that.
I told you about the plan that I was trying to get with Cardi B and be her sugar. Is it? I don't know if I'll be the sugar daddy because she's making the money.
Nah, she'd be your sugar mama.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I was trying to get a sugar mama, but found out that Cardi B rather catch the D from her maybe possibly ex-husband, maybe not.
Something like that.
Offset. Yeah. So long story short, you know, in the words of all the great R&B singers, she wanted that old thing back. And so right now she is supposedly still sleeping and hanging out with Offset, but they are not, quote unquote, back together. It's just that, you know, she wanted to be safe by sleeping with the same guy who cheated on her and possibly get us up with other women between their break. But yeah, I mean, let's deep dive into that one. Let's go ahead and start with you, Mama C. What do you think on this one? Cardi getting her old thing back.
Cardi B, what are you thinking? Seriously, she can have any man she wants in the world. And she goes back to Offset? What's that? Student loans.
No, I want Cardi B to pay off my student loans, so that's why I'm like, hey, I'm here. I'm waiting. Anytime you're ready, Cardi.
Cardi B, if you're gonna, like, you know, put some money our way, I would like a Nintendo Switch for my studio because
so you and my oldest daughter, both of them.
I would love a Nintendo Switch. If Cardi B could just put some money my way, because, yeah. Anyway, Cardi B, what are you thinking? You don't need to go back to Offset. Offset is trash. Trash. You just need to, you know, find yourself another guy who will like you for who you are and not cheat on you and be all like, you know, dependent on you. That's just, you need to find a man that's just as independent as you are, because you do not need to go back to Offset. And he may be like, well, I've changed. No, honey. Men like that don't change. No. He put his stick where it did not need to go, in the wrong coffee pot. And you need to take your coffee pot and you need to take it somewhere else where someone with a coffee stick will appreciate it.
What's a coffee stick?
It's a lot of coffee.
Little stir thing, you know?
Oh, okay.
And I'm unfamiliar with coffee lingo, so yes. DJ, what you got? What do you think? What do you think about Cardi? You judging her because she want that old thing back, or you know how you get down, and sometimes they just
that's just another typical celebrity relationship. I don't know why everybody's even making a big deal about it. Who didn't even see this coming a mile away? Like, you know, they get together, they breakups to makeups all day, every day. It's the same old thing, bro. Like. And the tit pic pretty much confirmed it, bro. I mean, did anybody see the memes on those things, man?
Nah, I didn't look up the tip pic. I
hilarious.
mean, but then I realized like Cardi was a stripper. Her tits been all over the internet.
You know,
for
yeah,
like,
for years.
True.
It's
I thought
hilarious,
maybe she
bro.
got a rebrand on them, so I wanted to check it out just in case. You know, I ain't want to be behind.
Nah,
But,
bro.
no, I mean, let's just be completely honest. Typically, if you get out of a relationship, because most women usually keep the children, they're going to be less active out in the streets doing their thing. So when it gets to, they get that little rumble and they're like, hey, I could go catch one from a random, or I could bring in my baby's daddy and my husband still technically by law and do this, and it won't seem out of the ordinary to my kid or anything like that. So I'm with it. I mean, as long as she like was a boss woman and was like, look, you just give me this. Once this is done, you can spend a night, but you got to go in the morning. And it ain't like, oh, let me cook you eggs. And once you start cooking eggs for him, then it's a wrap. He there. Like he's
No. Here's the thing. Offset obviously, went out to try some better, what he thought was better donuts. But there will never be a donut like Cardi B. So, of course, he comes crawling back because he realized that the donut that he had, the daily donut that he would get every morning for breakfast, is really the donut for him. But it's left up to Cardi B. But Cardi B, you can share your donut with other men.
Just
he needs to go back to the crappy donuts.
Just
okay?
for the record, every term for women's sparts, are they going to be desserts for you? Because we had cookies earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we got some donuts. So they're usually just, it is a dessert for us. So I'm not against it. I just want to make sure that's the thread here.
Well, here's the thing. Of course, my grandmother had terminology for everything. Like cookies were obviously a woman's private parts. And then, one time she called weed the devil's lettuce. So I'm taking a page out of my grandmother's book and I'm going to name it cute little things because it just adds a little humor instead of vulgarity.
I love it.
I love it too.
Here's the thing about donuts. Donuts have a hole.
Do that.
Is a bear claw that's considered a donut?
A bear claw will still give you the pleasure that it needs because of the ridges. So either way, bear claw or donut, it's going to be, compared to lady parts. Anyway, back to my little theory. Offset obviously wants the old donut back because those new donuts that he tried obviously gave him a stomach ache.
It must have been those apple cinnamon, the apple cider ones. They be real dry, so I could get it.
What?
You get one of those fudge ones that's all, real.
As long as you don't rip the apple fritter, dog. Let the apple fritter live, bro. Them things hit, but them things slap, bro.
Look, you can advertise new products, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be better than the product that you're using. And that's what Offset did. He decided that he wanted to taste the rainbow or taste whatever dessert was out there because it looked delicious. But it wasn't okay. Sorry, copy. We can edit that out. Okay. So taste what, Offset wanted to go out and taste whatever, pleasurable thing that he wanted to taste, but then he realized that it wasn't tasty, and so he decided to go back to Cardi B. And obviously, to me, this theory is Offset probably ran out of money, or he's in some sort of issue that he needs money. Cardi B has money.
Nah.
So he's gonna be like,
Offset good.
I don't know. Offset.
Offset. Yeah, money's not.
What you got, Jess? What do you think?
Why would you name yourself Offset if you're not having an offset in your finances? I'm just saying.
Cardi
good question. Hey, good comeback.
Had a need that needed to be met,
Mm-hmm.
and as a woman that's a mother and a business owner and an entrepreneur, she could either take the risk of going with something she doesn't know what she's going to get, or she could take the safe route of I know what I'm getting, and that does the job. Well, so also every woman has one backslide before they're really done with the dude.
Do you think she made
that
them eggs in the
infidelity
morning?
does the job?
No, I'm pretty sure she pays somebody to make eggs in the first place.
Yeah, true.
Oh, no, okay. Oh, but she did say I don't cook, I don't clean, but I got the ring, so I guess you may be right on that one. Tunes, you mean you got no issue with the backslide? Nothing? You good with it?
None at all, bro. None at all. And I foresee another breakup in the near future.
And sometimes that
it's
backslide,
imminent.
last.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's a year-long backslide.
Hey, that backslide sex be the best sex though. It ranks up there with the makeup sex. Like that backslide one, because you know, as a man, you gotta like in your mindset is like, I gotta lay this down enough that I can not stay here, but she know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So like you gotta really go in. The makeup sex is more like, oh well, you know, I'm back in here, so I need to show her like this is why you coming back. The backslide sex is like, I need you, if we move on, you gotta have that in the back of your head. Like, remember how the last time. So I'm pretty sure Offset was he was laying down. He was laying down on this one. Mama Steve was like,
I just don't like this couple. Like, when Cardi B and Offset broke up, I thought it was a great thing for Cardi B. She's finally gonna like be the woman that she wants to be and not be tied down to this jerk off.
well,
Mama Steve really got it out for Offset.
Oh, right. She should have said he broke. He don't need to be there. He need to change his name, his rapper name. Well,
Please change your rapper name, because Offset means that you're having some sort of difficulties in your personal life. Whatever those difficulties are, do not bring them to the table, especially Cardi B's table.
So let's talk about difficulties with trespassing. So we all know about, well, not all of us know about trespassing laws, but we can assume that getting on someone's property and they don't want you there, that is trespassing. So what if you took photos of someone's property? Is that considered trespassing? So I'm going to go myself, DJ Tunes, and then I know Mama Steve actually has stories that she's not going to incriminate anybody about, but use in this example. So for me, I'm going to say yes, taking photos of my property and being on, you know, even if you're not on it, but taking photos of my property to me is trespassing, because I don't know what you're using those photos for. I don't know what you're going to do with those photos. We know we got these deep fakes running around here. Like to me, I'm like, nah, I'm not with it. Like you take photos of my stuff, I consider that trespassing. And I don't know if it's vilified enough that you can shoot them, as if somebody was on your property, you can shoot them. But I kind of feel like it's some gray area there if somebody's taking photos of your property. What you got, DJ?
I mean, if they're taking photos of my property, I mean, you can Google and get photos of my property, like, you know, online. So, like, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Now, if my family and my kids are out, you know what I'm saying, in front of the house, and you take a picture with my family in front of my house, then I have a problem. Then I would consider that more, you know, trespassing and violating, you know what I'm saying, my rights, my personal rights. All right. You know, but yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Well, let's let Jess jump in, and then we'll go Mama Steve. What do you?
Well, I don't know. Did you have to go on the property to take the pictures?
No, I'm saying, because, you know, cameras now, you can zoom in.
Yeah, you can take that, you know, long range.
I don't think that's trespassing at all. If you don't want pictures of whatever taken, like if I don't want pictures of my house taken, I need to plant some trees to prevent people from seeing it from public space.
So I gotta wait 20 years to get privacy?
Or you just pay the money for the bigger trees.
Gotcha.
You can pay more money, get a bigger tree.
I just paid for a sump pump. I'm broke. I can't buy no trees.
I don't see any issues with the photos. Trespassing gets weird. I once got in trouble. I was told I was trespassing, but it was government property. And I feel like government property is like public property, so I can't be trespassing on like public property.
I mean, we pay for that technically, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Granted, it was 3 a.m, but
oh, okay.
Hold on. What is this story?
But were there signs? were there signs out there that said you couldn't be on this property during these hours or anything like that?
Hey, don't answer that as your attorney.
There was not a sign.
Yeah.
There was no sign posted. It happened to be the back of the state of Florida Capitol building. It's on a hill, so there's these kind of steps coming down to it, and these steps have this fountain that have life-size dolphin statues in them, like jumping from them. Okay. So we were tradition at Florida State is swimming in the Florida State fountains, and it was my last night at Florida State. We had done all of that, and I remembered this one last fountain on the Capitol property. So we went there, and while I was getting a picture of myself taken riding one of the dolphin statues, security came up and let us know that we were trespassing. And at that point, I asked, there were no signage, and he goes, "We don't think you should have to put a sign saying don't get in the fountain." But boy, did I prove him wrong.
Yeah, fooled him. Did he comment on how good your tan was?
He did not, because once again, it was 3 a.m.
I thought a moon tan is a real thing.
I was driving my mom's car at the time because I had to drive back to town to get my passport.
Okay.
So they ran the license plate and asked who my stepdad Tom Brownlee was, since his last name didn't match with my last name. And I'm like, that's my stepfather. It would be great if we don't have to call him. And the guy just laughed and let us go after that. But
okay.
yeah, I once again, I don't believe I was trespassing because it was government property, therefore public property, and I did not access a closed building or jump a gate or anything like that. I just walked up the steps that belong to all of us.
All right.
Sounds
well, Mama
pretty legit
Steve.
to me.
Yeah, right, yeah, right. Mama Steve, yeah, do you feel like taking photos is trespassing?
Well, this is a two-part thing. Yes and no, because, you know, I've been to several like Stranger Things filming sites when they're not filming. And we went to the schools during the summer and we were outside the school, and, you know, people take pictures outside the school all the time. Well, it's not really school anymore. It's a education center. And, you know, we're taking pictures outside, but we're not going through the windows and taking pictures of the inside. And again, no one's at the school. It's summer vacation. And I posted those and everything was okay. And, you know, we've been to, you know, several of the houses that they, you know, they filmed at, like the outside. Well, one house had a sign that said, "Photos are welcome, but please do not cross over the drive-through or the driveway." You know, so we were allowed to take pictures of the house from the street, and we did because there was a sign that said so. But then there was another house, which was actually the buyers, where they filmed the buyer's family, that had a giant sign outside that says, "If you are, you know, please do not take pictures. We will call the police. If you are on our property, we will call the police. We have cameras." You know, they're like, no pictures allowed. So we did not take a picture. But there was one time that we actually went to where they filmed the mall sequence, and they had the food court where they filmed roped off, and it said no pictures. And they were like, you know, I had my camera phone and my friend had hers, and they're like, immediately, they're like, whoa, 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 do not take pictures. If you take pictures, we're going to call the police. Well, my friend went up the escalator and she tried to get a photo from the barriers upstairs, and the security guard like saw her and she like ran. But apparently what we found out later was, even though it's not a working food court anymore, Netflix owns that property now because they filmed there.
Well, that's what Gwinnett Plaza.
Yeah.
The one off of Jimmy Carter, right?
Well,
not Jimmy Carter, Pleasant Hill.
Yeah. So obviously, you know, apparently Netflix rents or owns that place now, so it's considered private property. When they say no photos allowed, no photos are allowed. So now what they've done is they have that whole side blocked off, and you can't take pictures. You can't even go on that side anymore, because I believe that's their portion of the mall, because it is considered a private establishment. So we, you know, stayed away from that in regards to not getting in trouble. But I have seen other photos on Instagram of people like taking pictures of things that are not supposed to be taken photos of. Like, for example, right now they're filming season 4. And, you know, these people are coming to the sets, they're sitting outside of the set, and they're taking pictures of the filming as it's happening. And I'll be honest with you, I feel that that's a trespassing issue, because even though they are away from the set and they're sitting on public property, which is a sidewalk, I feel like they're invading the privacy of the filming. Now, paparazzi usually take photos of the filming in progress, but they do it in between takes, and they take the pictures from sidewalks, or there's one guy actually sits in one of these old trains, and he'll take a picture of the set in between sessions, and that's how he sells his photos. But to me, there were fans that had gone onto these sets while they're filming. They've snuck on and have taken pictures on the inside without getting caught, and I feel that's trespassing. You know, they're filming, obviously they've, rented this place for a certain amount of time for filming, and I just don't feel comfortable with that. But with these other places where they're not filming anymore, I have been to establishments where filming is no longer taking place, but you go there for the nostalgia because it was on season 3 or season 2, and if the owner's there, you ask to take a picture, and if they say yes, they've given you permission to take a picture. There's a grocery store that they filmed at that's actually in Palmetto, Georgia, called Bradley's, and the general manager is all for you taking photos inside. He loves Stranger Things fans. But there's a restaurant where they filmed Benny's Burgers where you can take pictures of the inside, but you cannot take pictures of inside of the kitchen.
Gotcha,
and they've made that very clear. So as long as there's a sign that says yes, you can take pictures, I think that's fine because you're getting permission. Or if there's a sign that says don't take pictures, then you don't take pictures. I think that's permission. But if there's not a sign, or if there's not anybody that says yes, you can take pictures, I think that's trespassing.
I think it's only trespassing if you have to sneak onto their property. That restaurant don't want you taking pictures of their kitchen because they don't want all their health codes blasted on the internet. That's the real reason.
Yeah, and she also said it's because there are workers back there that don't want to be posted on the internet. Yeah. So maybe that's a cover for code violation.
I think when you start taking pictures of sets, you get into intellectual property.
I agree.
There's a creative aspect, and that's what they're probably trying to protect versus not letting you just take a picture of property versus like the outside of a school is not intellectual property.
Right. And I feel that with, them taking pictures of the set of the whole thing in action, I don't know, because one, it's like, well, they're trying to create this season and they're trying to express their art, but then you've got fans that will, that are literally screaming at the actors like, oh my God, hey, we're over here, like while they're filming. And I feel like that interferes with the filming process, because they're trying to film a scene, but you got fans that are being disrespectful. Plus they have like COVID restrictions on these sets, and these fans are coming and they might be bringing COVID.
I had a terrible joke when Jess was like, oh, taking, photos of a school is not intellectual property. I was going to say, I mean, if you're R. Kelly, it is, but I held it back because I thought it was too far for a little bit, but then I had to say it because I felt like it was too good not to go and throw it out there. I think at the end of the day, I think it's only trespassing unless you get caught. You heard that? Unless you get caught. If you don't get caught, it's not trespassing. It's just politely taking information and spreading it to other folks. But so where do you stand on it? I know you said you're on both sides, Mama Steve, but if you had to make a definitive stance on it, where would you place that definitive stance?
I feel that if the permission is not implied, then it's trespassing.
Okay. So you need basically direct permission to do whatever, take photos or whatever, and then you're fine with it. But if it's not direct, you would, like, let's say if it's like, well, I don't see a sign saying I can't do this, and you would still feel like they need to get permission first.
Well, if there's not, because if there's not a sign, then that's just like, what, Toon said, where someone's standing on the sidewalk taking pictures of the kids in the yard, that could be a little upsetting.
Right.
And that's like an invasion of privacy and personal space, and I really feel for these families that allowed Netflix to film in front of their houses for the outside portion for the seasons, because now, especially from the rumor is because of where they filmed the buyer's house. The rumor is because they are so adamant about not having anybody take pictures or anything in regards to their house or anywhere around it, is because of the fanatics that literally came onto the property to find the shed in the back where Will was, trying to fight the Demogorgon, where, they were trying to get the Demogorgon out of him because there's a shed in the backyard where the house is. And the rumor is that they found fanatics, fans and, super fans is what I call it, in that shed, taking pictures of the shed. Like they snuck around the back of the house to take pictures of the shed or in the shed. And that's an invasion of privacy. So of course they have to put out a sign that says, we do not allow photos, do not come on our property, we will call the police. But the other house has a sign that says photos are allowed only in the street, please do not come on our property. So, you know, that's like a direction of, okay, I can take pictures of the house, but I can't come on the property.
Well, let me ask this question and spin it a little further. So I know the Supreme Court at one point said that corporations are people, which we don't want to get into if that's a good decision or not. The point I'm going to bring up here is that, so would not these properties get a quote unquote celebrity status? Unlike, like if you see a celebrity walking down the street or doing something, they quote unquote don't have any quote unquote privacy because of their celebrity status. Do these properties now become celebrity status? And if so, should that be allowed? Or like, I guess what I'm saying, like now, and then also I guess my other part of it is that Netflix, knowing they're using these people's like imagery of their homes for this show, is there any responsibility on Netflix to protect these properties after they move away and go? So I guess that's twofold. Should these properties be celebrity status, and should Netflix be held accountable for protecting and giving security to these places because they've made it a thing?
If
Go ahead.
Netflix is going to be accountable, then they need to provide a stipend for that. They would pay like these people that live there, okay, we'll protect your home. And then of course the homeowner's going to be, what's in it for me? And they give them money. I could say, you know, that, but in regards to Netflix, they don't have to protect them after they're done, because you sign an agreement to utilize the property for filming. You're basically signing your right of way for that. In exchange for whatever compensation they want to provide. So that's left at the owner's discretion, because the owner can easily say no. If Netflix were to come to me and want to use our house, that's left up to me and Travis. It's not, Netflix is not forcing a homeowner out of the house to utilize it. They're asking them, and they're making an offer. I would assume they're making an offer.
Well, I guess maybe I asked that because, like, let's say if Stranger Things never took off, they wouldn't have this issue. Stranger Things took
Correct.
off and became a billion-dollar industry. Should Netflix be held accountable now because this thing took off? They probably signed up thinking this was just going to be a thing, whatever. You know, I'm pretty sure these people that own a house aren't our age. They're probably older. So they're like, yeah, you could use the front of my house, blah, blah, blah. No problem. I'll take this money. Helps us out. Cool. Then this thing explodes and becomes probably the biggest sci-fi thing going on in our generation. Should Netflix come back now and be like, hey, like, we need to protect you and your property because we probably didn't even think it would be this big. So that's what I think more lines of, they probably signed a contract not thinking this was going to be crazy. It got crazy. And now should Netflix be responsible now?
I mean, I would say yes on a personal level, but I can understand the legality of it. I would want Netflix to be held accountable, of course, but they're not going to, because the party, you know, their legal team is that, you know, airtight. The owner signed a contract, and that's just the way it's going to be. But yes, I would like Netflix to be held accountable for the protection of the property. And in a perfect world, they should be. In regards to your question, in regards to celebrity status, private property is still considered private property. You know,
Yeah.
To me, that's just, that just is my answer to your question. If it's still considered private property, whether it's, you know, in a show or not, it doesn't change that status.
Right.
So privacy laws still apply, i.e., you know, if you take pictures on private property without permission, that may be considered trespassing. I mean, there's a lot of gray area as well when it comes to that, especially with these people like sitting on the sidewalks and then they're claiming, well, I'm technically on public property,
Right.
you know, and that's been like the main thing these days with filming resuming, is because now the paparazzi especially are stating, I am technically on public property and I can do whatever I want on public property. And so now all these super fans that want to go out to the filming sites are basically taking a page out of that book and saying, well, technically we're sitting on the sidewalk, so you can't do anything about it. And then they're shouting all this stuff at the filming. So,
all right. What do you think, DJ Tunes? What do you think about those two thought processes? Celebrity status and Netflix responsibility?
Well, I mean, the whole thing with, you know, taking pictures from the outside, you know, of the set, I feel the same way, you know, I do about my home, like being, you know, pictures being taken of my home. Like, I don't think there's an issue with that. Even if there are signs of no trespassing, like I said, if you're, a distance away, you can take, a picture from, who knows how many feet. But once you step inside of the property and it says no trespassing and you're in there, on your own will, I think that would be trespassing if you were to be taking pictures of the set and posting it on, social media for people to see. I think that, that's not right at all, for sure.
Okay.
But I mean, as far as it being the responsibility of Netflix, yes, I think they should be held responsible for sure. Even, they would have, I know they need permission in order to, take pictures or to use people's homes and private property, in while filming. So, they should definitely be held liable if, those pictures get out and posted on social media or whatnot.
Okay. What about you, Jess? I
don't think Netflix is legally responsible to do anything outside of the filming time. Now, those people are compensated for the use of their property. I worked with somebody whose driveway was in a film and they got paid like $5,000.
What?
To just have their, these people aren't getting chump change to have their houses used. They got in the thousands of dollars in their driveway, like somebody I think turned around in their driveway, or it was a party scene, so cars were like their physical driveway was used. But that was it. Their whole house wasn't featured. So if they're getting paid, I think it was between $3,000 and $5,000. I can only imagine what someone's getting paid to actually have their house and property filmed like that. So the people are being compensated with that in mind.
But is it compensated for the use or compensated for the future in detriment to their home? Like
compensated for the use, but that's a risk you take.
Okay.
And then while we didn't know Stranger Things was going to blow up this way, that's a risk Netflix took. Is like, hey, we're willing to pay you this much. The people agreeing to use their house had to agree to that much. So they entered a contract that they agreed to.
Right.
It could have bombed and they could have made all this money and had no one trying to take pictures of their property. Like, that's just the risk you take in doing business. And that's what this is business. Now, people taking pictures of their shed, once you cross onto their property, that's private property and that's illegal. But no, Netflix doesn't owe them anything. They paid a contract and a price that the homeowners agreed to.
Right. Well,
with that being said, Stranger Things, Netflix, my home is officially available for filming.
Your home looks too new, brother.
Gwinnett,
your home looks too new.
I'm in Gwinnett County. We can do it. We can make some modifications, okay? All right. Let's talk.
I'm gonna give a slight pushback on the private property.
Make it 80s.
Right. I'm gonna give a slight pushback on the private property, not because I agree with this, but to play devil's advocate, because I think we agree across the board. Private property is private property. But I will say this, that, okay, and that's why I use the whole thing as a corporation being a person was deemed by the Supreme Court. Since they're getting paid to use their property, at that point, can we consider it a business on the loosest term, in the sense that my property has become a business? If a business or corporation is a person does not have the privacy, because they'll say, well, you're a celebrity, you kind of signed up for this, you lose some of your privacy. So since that building becomes a corporation as a person, they lose some of their privacy, which means that now should people be allowed to be on their property because it's no longer quote unquote private because they're a person and they lose some of their privacy. So I know we have less than a minute, so real quick, Mama Steve, what do you think about that theory?
I think if it's going to be a business, there needs to be a business license, and that's that.
Okay. DJ Tunes, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. As long as they, have a license and, certification and a permit, then, so be it. It is what it is.
I think these homeowners are really missing out on an opportunity to start a business on their property and charge people to see this shed and take pictures in it. And in their next Netflix contract, they need to be able to keep some props to put in the shed.
Well, there's actually the tree farm where they filmed Hopper's Cabin and everything. They're a legitimate business, and that's what they've done is they've added the escape room as part of their business.
Oh yeah, and didn't they it's a lodge or cabins, right? Like they tripled the cost to now stay there.
Yes.
Wow. So really, these homeowners with the shed are missing out on
a real business opportunity.
A real business and money-making opportunity.
Oh man, Lord. This show is a bunch of nonsense, guys. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll be right back with, we'll finish up and come right back. All right, now.